I remember my mother telling me my grandmother was wonderful when she was pregnant. She was working up until the day she gave birth, and she was energetic and happy. My grandmother also never remembered any one of her 3 births because she was put out. She survived each one, but that seemed to be the best story I'd heard of everyone in my family, that she survived and it wasn't terribly traumatic. I wanted to do better than that with my own choices. The name of my baby will be Mila Amora Perez. I'm planning on having my birth in my home. The most consistent reaction I have, and there's a difference if it's a man asking or a woman asking if I'm having a home birth. The women say, "You're so brave." And I found that hysterical because I would look at them and say, you know, I actually think of you who have had births in hospital as you're the brave one. And the men have a very quick reaction to, you are not having a home birth. I am not letting you have a home birth. So between the two, there seems to be a great level of resistance. But I do find it sort of encouraging in a way that every time I talk to someone about it, they, by the end, say, that makes so much sense. And that feels like a really good choice. My mother had very traumatic births, including giving birth to me. And it gave me a very clear perspective on the stress and anxiety that comes along with birth. So I read up a lot when I became pregnant and realized home birth sounded the most relaxing, connective, and the most listening to your body of the options. So it was a lot of things, but I think mostly that it has more to do with listening to your body than listening to someone else tell you about your body. I think like anyone else, you're concerned of everything and anything that could go wrong, but I don't personally concern myself with it the same. Because one of the things I did notice about all of the women who had had the same experience giving birth was they were so focused on everything that could go wrong because they were told a lot of things could go wrong. And no one ever seemed to express to them what didn't have to go wrong. I went into a class they refer to as hypnobirthing, which tends to be taken as, that sounds really strange. It was recommended to me. And the thing that I loved about it was it wasn't about numbing yourself. It wasn't about taking yourself out of the experience. It was about getting your body to completely let go and letting your mind take a back seat so your body could actually listen to its cues and be able to do a lot of the work without fighting you mentally about a lot of things. To me, after I took the hypnobirthing class was probably when I really let go of most of my concerns of what could be good or bad about having a home birth. It was just prepare yourself for something that can go wonderfully is the difference. Honestly, the main reason I don't want to have a hospital birth, and it may still be, if anything were to go in that direction, I would still be someone that does have a hospital birth. But for me, I didn't spend my life before I was pregnant thinking I am never giving birth in a hospital. But my mother giving birth to me seemed to be something so terrifying to her. I nearly died. My brother nearly died. My brother nearly killed my mother. I didn't get touched. I didn't cry when I was born. One thing after another that seemed to just sound terrible to me from the outside. But my mother, who had gone through it more consciously, looked back at it thinking it was completely okay. that seemed to be the consistent story that came out of births that came from hospitals. They were just so grateful they were alive. And since then, I had had more discussions with people who did go through home births. And each of the people that I had talked to about this had all had such uniquely wonderful and meaningful experiences to knowing themselves, knowing their bodies, and having this connection to their child after it was born and during the birth, that I realized this made more sense to me. And having a hospital birth, if it works for you and makes you feel safe and confident, that's the way to go. But for me, it would have done the opposite. So a home birth gave me a sense of safety and security that I did not feel